Hey, it's Dustin with the Davidson Group with July 9th market update. This week, we're going to be looking at our local MLS data. Hey, we're in a seller's market. That's basically what we're going to be talking about. So if you're not an analytical person or you don't care about the changes in numbers, you can stop, say, hey, thanks for the video, and I'll catch you next week. But if you are analytical, we're going to break down some of those numbers. We're going to look at where we at from the month. We're going to look at the previous month. And something here is a disclaimer. The information that we have from our market data is from the month previous. So a month ago, we looked at the end of April. This month, we're looking at the end of May. So we're going to compare those two, year-over-year comparisons and then month-over-month comparisons as well. But let's jump in. So we've talked about this multiple times, but the absorption rate is such an important number when you're determining what type of market you're in, how much inventory you have, and really it helps dictate that price point. So our absorption rate from April to May dropped by a quarter of a percentage, or a quarter of a point. So it went from 2.53 to 2.26, and that's months of available inventory at any given moment. So at the end of May, we have just under 2.5 months worth of inventory. That number continues to drive down, and what happens is the price points of the homes will continue to drive up because of supply and demand and economics, and you know the thing. But really, when we dive down and look at some of these actuals, we see some minor changes, but for the most part, the market's very, very similar to the month previous. When we look at median days on market, so how much time the property's on the market, that's from start to finish. In April, 53 days. May, we're looking at 51. So we had a little bit of a reduction, not major. But when you look at that from the year previous, we actually dropped by 12%, which is a significant drop in days on market. It means we're still in that type of market. But from the previous month, we had an almost 33% reduction in days on market. So April of 20 to 2021 was a much more drastic change versus May 20 to 2021. When we look at the sold data, something that I found interesting was our average price point sold versus our average price point or our median price point sold. So our average price point sold, actually from month over month, it dropped about $4,000. Surprising to me, I would think that the number would continue to increase due to absorption rates, due to supply and demand, due to more pricing. The odd part is the median days on market, or the median price point, increased by $9,500. So our average went down, but our median went up, and went up significantly. We're talking big numbers for Southwest Missouri when you're talking a median price point in this month or this past month of $157,000. That increase month over month is huge. Now, when you look at it from the year prior, that's an even larger growth, over 13% from almost 139 to 157. So we've got good growth. We've got good stability there. We've talked about this. I'm going to continue saying this because there's a lot of fear-mongering out there. There's a lot of inconsistent reporting, and there's a lot of information out there that I feel we need to clear up. We are not entering into a crash. We're not entering into a bubble burst. We are in a marketplace that has a limited supply, we have built up a demand, and we have the ability to back it up with the lack of new construction starts, the lack of sellers entering the marketplace. We have buyers who have great interest rates. We have buyers who are entering into the market for the first time. All of these things are creating that perfect storm. We don't see any indications of that market shifting in a crash-like or bubble bursting idea. Now, markets do change over time, right? We've talked about that too. But what we're seeing is the next 12, 24 months, we're going to see this market. I promise you this, the moment that the data supports a change in the market will be the moment that I start to report that change in data. I don't want to create fear. I just want to present facts. And then knowing how to navigate through those facts to get what you need to get out of real estate. Whether you're looking to invest, you're looking to make that first-time purchase, you're looking to sell a home, to either move up or move down, you want a new construction, whatever the case may be. Something in real estate, you need to have a professional who understands your market, who understands the data, and who can help you navigate through the process. So when we're looking at this, we've talked about this before, but the number of sold properties, in May we had 328 properties that sold. In April, Not much different. We only had 317. So we're staying fairly consistent month over month. I think the biggest pieces of data were the changes in median price point versus the average price point. You know, we've talked about having cash and having big conventional loans, and we've talked in the past about escalation clauses and waiving appraisals and waiving inspections and do all these things to get into properties. And not that that isn't the case, not that you don't have to put your best foot forward to get into a piece of property right now to buy a home, but when I look at these numbers and I'm seeing FHA purchases, of that 328, we had 42 FHA purchases. We had 15 VA purchases. We had rural development, we had 20. So we made up almost a third of our purchases from government-backed loans, which means people are limited money down, great interest rates, and they're able to get into these properties without having to give an arm and a leg or feeling hopeless knowing that they can't get into them. It's still happening on a daily basis. So if that loan type matches you, connect yourself with someone who can navigate through that process, who can get you into the right home, and who can be honest and upfront with you about what it's going to take to get into a property, because it's not like it was a few years ago. It's not like it was 7-8 months ago. The market is continuing to change and continuing to adapt into this deep seller's market, and something we're going to see for the future. So this is our area, right? We're looking at Joplin and surrounding, Newton. We're looking at Jasper, Newton, some McDonald. We've got into some Kansas. You know, our market is central around that Joplin area. But if you want to know about a specific area, if you want to know about your neighborhood or a neighborhood that you want to get into, whether that's here locally or nationally, we talked about this before. I have the ability to connect you with the right professional if it's outside of my wheelhouse, to ensure that you can have the information at the ready to make the right decision. Hope this information has found you well. Hey, you know what? If you're not an analytical and you've made it to this point in the video, kudos to you. Thank you so much for taking the time. Drop a like, share this to someone who you think would find benefit or value from it, and leave a comment if there's something that I can assist with. Until we see you next time, have a great day.